Hello, welcome to Dressage Spirit. I just wanted to make a video today on horse and rider confidence and ways that you can increase confidence and what tends to go wrong when you're trying to build confidence. So one of the things I wanted to start with is the two different ways that you can try and build confidence. So the ways that you can use are either flooding or desensitization. So flooding is where you put that person in that situation straight off the bat. So you just put all of the things that they're frightened of there and hope that they realise through that process that there's nothing to be scared of, and they come out the other side and it's gone. So that's flooding. And then you've got desensitization, which is where you gradually increase the stimulus until there's no more fear around it, and that can take a lot longer. So give you an example. If you had a fear of jumping, as that's one of the things that I have had to deal with, then flooding would be if you put that person on a horse, you set some jumps out and you just told them to crack on with it. Basically, you just send them down the jumps. That's how you would do it. You would just get on with it, really, and hope for the best. Okay, that's your flooding. If you wanted to desensitize someone to be okay with jumping, then what you would need to do is you might start with poles on the floor in one session, and that's it. That's all you do in that session. Or you might have a session where you just work on the jump position or work on the lower leg strength or something that's going to help them feel a little bit more safe. So you take them right back, and then you gradually, over a period of time, build them back up again, which, I mean, how long's a piece of string? It could take a long time. It depends on the person and what setbacks you encounter. Now, the reason I wanted to discuss both of these two things is because we hear a lot about comfort zones and how everyone should push themselves out of their comfort zone, and it's not a great place to stay. The problem with things like that idea of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is that when you're already scared of something, you actually need to build your comfort zone again. You don't have one anymore. The comfort zone's kind of gone. So actually, in my opinion anyway, it's better to go back to your comfort zone. Find out what that comfort zone is. Where are you actually happy? Where do you feel safe? Where do you feel confident? And then work from there. The reason I say that is that, as in my role as a riding instructor, what we kind of see quite a lot is people want really quick results, particularly for other people, not necessarily for themselves. What you'll tend to find, if you've got somebody that's scared of something, a nervous rider or whatever, what they'll tend to do is they'll tell you what their limits are. Particularly if they're an adult, they will say, I'm comfortable with this, but I'm really not comfortable with that. So for example, they might be comfortable getting on and walking, they're not comfortable to trot, and they'll tell you that. And so you know where the comfort zone is, and where it's not. What I tend to find though is that what someone tells you is their comfort zone is not necessarily their comfort zone. It's probably one step behind that. So maybe getting on the horse is fine, but they're actually still a bit worried about walking, which is why they're not comfortable to trot yet. So actually it's being aware that what people tell you, it just take it with a pinch of salt and work backwards. But quite often what you'll find with instructors, or what you'll find with overcoming confidence issues, particularly for people that have never encountered a confidence issue, is they'll go straight to flooding. So you'll quite often see this. So if you go into a session, I mean, I've encountered this myself, where I've gone into a jumping lesson, I've gone into a lesson, I said, look, I'm nervous for jumping, I would like to work through that. In that one session, there will end up being jumps out, or several jumps or whatever. That will tend to happen, even though what I would have liked to have done is to go back a stage and go like poles, and then maybe that'd be the whole session, just poles, and then build up to a jump the next session, and then build up to 2 jumps the session after that or whatever. But what tends to happen is, and some instructors are better at this than others, is that they'll build those fences up in that one session. Some of them will go even further than that, and they will keep sending you down without necessarily listening to you about your fear. So for example, if you do have a fear about jumping and that fear doesn't go away when you're actually jumping, then that fear's not a nervous anticipation, then that's quite a real fear. The way you need to solve that is to bring your fear level down. Because if the the difficulty with confidence building in horses is that they're prey animals, so they pick up on things like tension, they pick up on worry, and the thing is, when we're a human being, when you get scared, your body communicates that. So if you get scared, you'll quite often tense up. The horses feel that. You might you stop breathing, you stop thinking, and you lean forward into fetal position, which is the worst thing you could do when you're riding a horse. Your heels come up as well, so you then become less balanced, less stable. So you need to be brought down to a level where you're not scared anymore, because otherwise, through breathing techniques, through positive thinking, or just having a break, because otherwise you cannot then function. You can't learn in that state either. So even if you get over all the jumps and that instructor thinks they've done a super job because they've got you jumping, they've not actually helped you, because the next time you're going to start from the exact same position again, because you have done that from a place of fear rather than from a place of feeling confident. And you see this quite a lot, where quite a few people think the job is done if they see the outcome, which is you going over fences. But actually, it's more important that the process is correct, so that you're able to go and recreate that on your own. So, for example, it's no good if you can get over these fences in a lesson because you feel pressure, and you can't go and then jump around on your own. You've not accomplished anything doing that, and quite often you've increased the fear. What I like to do, and what I think works better, is less popular because it takes longer. So flooding, you might see the results straight away. The problem is, if something goes wrong and you have a fall or something happens, you're going to be even more scared than you were to start with. So you actually send yourself further back. Whereas if you use desensitization, then it might be, you look at all the factors you can control. I mean, you can't control everything with horses, but you look at what you can control. So first of all, super safe horse. Something that's genuine is going to take you over the fence, push button, but it's not going to run off. So something that's just going to take you over, really safe. That is key. Second of all, you want an instructor that you really trust. Now, you need to think about what their knowledge is of confidence issues, not just, oh yeah, I can help with that. And then what you end up finding is that they just try and scare that person or push them through it. What you actually want, ideally, is somebody that has empathy and will take that person back to their comfort zone and start at their comfort zone, so that they have a session where they build on trust. And it actually, I think, it really helps if you have an instructor that is willing to allow someone to get bored in their comfort zone. If you have somebody that gets to a stage and says to you, say they're scared of cantering, and they get to a stage where they say, I really want to canter today, and I want to canter right now, you've done your job. I think that's the best thing, really. If that gets to a stage where that person chooses to go and do the thing they were previously worried about, it means you've built their trust and their confidence. Forcing someone to do it and then them doing it, and they may get it done, but if they then come back the next week still scared of it, you've not done your job. You've just created more issues in the situation. So you could take that person back to the beginning. Super safe horse, instructor that you trust, that understands confidence issues and is willing to take the time to do it, and recognise that it's like seeing the grass grow. If you watch the grass, you won't see it grow, but if you come back a month or two later, you see it's grown. It's that tiny little bit of progress all the time, rather than trying to get something too big and having an accident. So then you start off, okay, where are you actually comfortable? Let's go back to the jumping example. Where are you actually comfortable? Oh, I'm comfortable walk, trot, cantering around. I'm comfortable in my jump position. I'm comfortable over poles. Super, we start there. You have a session working on all the building blocks you're going to need to get that person over a fence in the future. For example, good jump position, super strong lower leg, good balance, going through sorting out the quality of the canter, the quality of their turns, their posture, where they're looking, ways to relax themselves if possible, like just little exercises they can do to just kind of get rid of any tension. Those are the kind of things you want to be laying the foundation of to start with. Then the next session you can build up. So it might be that person goes away a little bit disappointed they didn't jump that day. That's good, because that means that they're hopefully ready the next time to do that. It means you've actually done a session where that you've not set them back. So the next session you can then build up to a cross pole, and then you're then led by that particular person. So if they say, oh yeah, I want the next one up or whatever, then you can do that. Or you want it to be an upright or a spread or whatever it is, you can then build from there. I think it's very important that you're rider led with this kind of thing, because what you often will see is quite a lot of pushing, which works for some people. I have heard some people say, oh yeah, I would never have done it if my coach hadn't pushed me to do that. And I think that certainly does work for some people. But if you found that it doesn't, that it makes you worse, then try to avoid that type of instructor, because that's their way of solving that problem. And that's just their style, and it will work for some people. So for example, if you've got an instructor that coaches event riders quite often, who are usually quite bold and super brave, that'd be their way of pushing you through it. Or if they teach career students, again, that's how they'll do it. But if you're kind of a leisure rider, you want to do something for fun, you don't necessarily want that type of push. Or it might not necessarily help you, because you want to try and keep fear to a below kind of a level that if it goes too high, you stop learning. And it's the same with a horse as well. I often get criticised for my training with my horses because it's too nice and it's too slow. And then the comments I get is that my horses are easy. But I prefer to solve things before they're an issue if I can. So without having the big battles. I'm not particularly big or strong rider. And so I'd rather not escalate an issue that far. So what I would tend to do is we'll have loads of sessions where we work on a tiny little piece of the puzzle, and if that goes well, great, and put the horse away. And do that over and over time, in just really, really regular sessions, 5 or 6 days a week, until we reach the goal. Not necessarily schooling every day, but you can work on different things each time, and so you hopefully never get to that stage where you have an explosion. The problem is though, is that it's not then visible, and I believe Kelly Marks of Intelligent Horsemanship said this, that people will say when she has her loading demonstration, well, they picked an easy horse, because they don't ever push the horse beyond a certain level. But quite often what people want to see is they want to see the explosion. They want to see you deal with a bucking horse, a rearing horse, or a bolting horse. They want to see that action. But actually, if you do things slowly, you should never get to that stage, or ideally you should never get to that stage. I mean, horses are all individual, but hopefully you never would. So actually, it's kind of a compliment for someone to say your horses are easy, because it means that you're training them correctly, in my view. So anyway, those are some thoughts on confidence and how to build your confidence. I hope that is useful. If you need more information, I'm not a qualified sports psychologist. I've used sports psychologists in the past though. Helen Rennie of Rezone Coaching is very, very good, and so is Charlie Unwin. I can't remember what his company's actually called, but I think he runs Centre 10, which is sports coaching for instructors to help them with their coaching. But that's performance coaching as well, but it can still deal with nerves and that kind of thing. So if you want more information, then do look those people up. So what I'm saying is basically from my experience and my research, and as a rider and as someone that's taken sports psychology sessions, as well as tried to implement it in my own training with my own horses. So I hope that helped, and see you all soon. Also, by the way, I'm out of action at the moment. I've actually got, it's not so bad now, I've got a broken collarbone. I've got my sling here. I'm not supposed to be moving it too much. The doctors have said that because it's an impact fracture, I've got more movement than I should have, but I've got to be really careful. But I wanted to take it off because it didn't look too good. It's a bit dirty now, you know, going through the yard and stuff. So I thought I'd start making a few videos just on a few thoughts that I have, seeing as I can't really ride at the moment and it's driving me a bit mad. So yeah, so that's why I'm doing these. Anyway, feel free to comment down below. Anything you want to add to that, but you know, generally it's just my thoughts and opinions. If you want more information or expert advice, or people that are trained in like NLP, so neuro-linguistic programming, or those kind of things, do look up Rezone Coaching, Charlie Unwin, Centre 10, those kind of things. And good luck on your riding journey. Thank you very much.